I remember being outside a lot. The first thing that I see when I think about being a kid is I see the liquid amber trees in my front yard and loving to climb the trees, and neighborhood kids. We were always out, like until the street lights came on. I loved strawberry shortcake. I loved playing house with my friends or doing fashion shows. Anytime we got together with my cousins, I was organizing us all to do some ridiculous show at Christmas time. My dad, I know he worked for Lockheed Martin, so there's a part of me that's like, I think he might have been a spy. I don't know. I don't really know what he did for Lockheed, but that was his lifetime career. And my mom called herself a domestic engineer, so she stayed at home and raised me and my brother. She worked part-time with our neighborhood friends, and so our moms would switch off. But my mom was mostly at home raising the fam. My dad is so intellectual. He really loves the arts. So he's the one who introduced me to theater, musical theater. Also, my dad is really responsible for teaching me to ski. And then we would see Broadway shows. My love for Broadway starts with driving around town with my dad. He was always listening to musical theater, and I fell in love with it. My mom is very social. They would host these amazing Christmas parties. And so we were the house that people always came to our house. We invited people for Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, all the holidays. It was our house. It was a very social, very fun period of life. Spiritually, I was raised free spirit. I always had this crazy curiosity towards the spiritual world. I've always searched for bigger meaning to my life, and I was lucky that I was allowed to just look up to the stars. That was my first love, was the stars, and just feeling like I was connected to something so much bigger. But there were no regulations or this is what you have to do or should or shouldn't. There was none of that religious doctrine in my childhood. And then when I went on to college, I was so excited that there were all the religious studies classes and world religions, and I took it all, looking at different traditions around the world. And it really wasn't until I chose to get married that I spent 20 years of my life in the Christian religion, like really trying to understand and make peace of that. I went back to the stars in the universe and a more cosmic perspective of my spirituality. But love is what I prescribe to. I knew from a pretty young age that I wanted to be a teacher. I had these awesome French teachers who really encouraged me. They're like, you just seem to have a gift for this language. And so did that, and then started teaching at Wilcox High School French, and it started as a small program. Within the 7 years that I was there, I doubled the program in size, and we hired another teacher, and it was time for me to become a mother. And I always had told myself that once I had children that I would want to stay home with them, just like my mom had done for me. It's one of my greatest joys. Yeah, there were scraped knees, and there were tantrums, and there were fights and, drawing that imaginary line down. But I owned it. I had a minivan. I owned it. I loved the time that I had at home with the kids. We had been married 19 years, and what happened was my husband filed for divorce. Even though we had been in marital counseling, we had been married 20 years, everything kind of flipped upside down. And I don't know that I'll ever fully understand, but I remember just the shock of him telling me that he had filed for divorce while I was at Oprah. And little did I know that while I was there, working on my vision, my 2020 vision, and how everything is going to come back together, we got in one argument, and that's when he told me that he had already filed. I think I signed the paper on March 17th, and that was the same weekend that everything was removed, because I remember teaching, it was Friday the 13th, and at Sage we don't normally have students on Fridays. We had just said goodbye to our student, saying we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. We're gonna take this break and figure out what this coronavirus thing is. And so on that, the first day of like no school, everybody's locked down, everybody's in their house. We went through the most painful divorce ever. Like, talk about feeling isolated. He told me that he had been unhappy for 15 years. At the time, my oldest child was 15 years old. My role of mom was so, like, that title was so important to me. I was so attached to that. Mom, wife, entertainer, all the things that I did. Like, who was Andrea in the midst of all of that? I think I lost sight of, I know I lost sight of her. So I'm in this big house, no husband, and my oldest son is gone. And then we had this dog named Crosby, a big protector, big love. Like, he developed diabetes. And the day that my son was supposed to come home, my dog died. And it was just like, I still thought that was rock bottom. There was more to come, but that's when I started Let Love Rise. Anybody who's been through a dark night of the soul knows that feeling where it's like every day is gray and bleak and confusing, and I wanted to find my way back to that. Its origin was of a blog. I just felt this tremendous need to express my story. And so I started connecting to the moon, the universe, learning about astrology. So moon, there was all the music that played a powerful role. And in my blog, every single post that I have ever written is accompanied by a song. Like many people, started listening to podcasts and YouTube and things like that. And I found an astrologer that just made sense to me and helped me read charts and understand that, they speak directly to me in a personal way. And so that's when I learned about, I'm more than a Taurus, it's my sun sign. And it was one of the things that just I was like, this makes so much sense. I started leading moon circles not too long after even the blog. But through one of the moon circles, I was introduced to Notes from the Universe by Mike Dooley. And then he had a training that was coming up. And so I took that. I participated in that and became a certified mindset coach through Mike Dooley and started incorporating. So now I had moon, I had music, I had mindset, and then came the Magi. It was when I was able to make the connection between the Magi cards and astrology. Everything just became crystal clear. That opened and answered so many questions, just opened doors, and Magi is the fourth pillar now of Let Love Rise, moon. I'm still a teacher. I just teach something different, and the clientele is different. It is all ages, but people are hungry for the wisdom. They want to learn the wisdom, and it's beautiful. And I think that I am happiest when I'm teaching. I feel honored to be able to witness when somebody is recognizing this light that has been inside of them all along. It's just been covered by the mud and the muck of the years. And when you just get that first little bit that shines through, that first spark it's so magical. And again, it's just such an honor to be with somebody to help them see that, and then just continue to chip away and reveal the fullness of who they are. There's not much that is better in life than that, truly. When you think about the life that you want to live and the feelings that you want to have, that joy and that meaningful connection, work that is fulfilling, financial abundance, to care for yourself, your family, to give generously, all of the things that you desire in this land of enchantment. Most people, I think, just want to be put on that path. The life that I'm living now it's mine. It's totally mine. I get to design my day from sun up to sundown. I know now that I am the divine creator of my life, and I am living not just in service to others and to the Magi, but I'm in service to myself. And I couldn't be happier.